Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're back here at the Daviess County Museum talking with Kathleen Cavanaugh from Cannelburg, Indiana. In our last segment, Mrs. Cavanaugh, you were telling us about the Cavanaugh family and the history of Cannelburg, Indiana. In this segment, we'd like to talk about your artistic background and your association with other artists here in Daviess County. And I want to tell people that you were the inspiration for the Daviess County Museum to establish a collection on our online site about the Daviess County Art League. So perhaps you could share with us your knowledge and your background with about the Art League and how it got started and the activities that it was involved with.
The Art League began in 1961, wasn't it, Bruce, I think? And they had already been active by the time that we returned to Indiana. So it was about 1972 probably that I joined the Art League, and it was a wonderful group of women. And we met every month, and sometimes we painted, sometimes we just visited and critiqued other people's, our own members' paintings. We have a list of the number of people that were active at the time that 1960, no, what would it have been when we acted? Maybe at the time of the
perhaps the 25th anniversary?
I think that was it, 25th anniversary. So there was a big group of women at that time, and many of us participated in show, and that was held at the David Graham home. And so they opened their home to us and took tours, and very nice. We could display outside and inside, and there's a list, you probably have it in the database now, about the number of women that were in the Art League at that time. And there's still, I guess, about 4 of us, I think, that are still around, we might say, that are members of the Art League back then.
And these ladies were all artists, they did their own paintings.
Right, yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about some of the mediums that they operated in, the kind of paintings the ladies did in the league?
Well, a variety of mediums. Some painted mainly in watercolor, others in oil, and I don't think too many in pastels, so I've kind of done that myself, I guess. And other mediums as well. Oh, I think June Littell, she would work with making note cards, beautiful note cards from her watercolors. Not from her watercolors, but each note card was a watercolor itself, you know, an original.
And June lived here in Washington.
Yes. Yeah.
And she created many paintings, did she not?
Yes, beautiful artist, beautiful work. And Catherine Holman, of course, she was one of our big founding members of the Art League.
Yes.
And several others. Oh, and every year we would have Sunday in the Park. Tell
us about Sunday in the Park.
Well, it was very well attended, and each of us would display something at that. And
that was at the East Side Park here in Washington.
Yes, right. One year we donated a bench that was engraved on there. I'm sure it's still there, donated by the Art League. I don't remember the date of that. But I think I read that they also donated other benches as well for the Art League. Let me see. Oh, Joanne Like, one of the members, she was the one that would dress herself up as a clown, and then she would paint clown faces on the children, and that was her booth then to do that. In fact, we have one of her paintings here of a clown.
Yes.
I think she had a title, and so I was in contact with Joanne not too long ago, and so she wrote out in great detail for the database part, or what do we call it, of our Art League group on the database. She wrote out a whole article almost of what she did and what the Art League did at that time. More information that I would have remembered, but she was great at doing that. And also we have another painting of hers, I believe. And let me think about art. Okay, Sunday in the Park. Sometimes we would have a juried art show at Sunday in the Park.
Juried, as in a judge would come in and take a look at the paintings and award prizes?
Right. I remember one time we had a judge from Indianapolis came down.
Is that right?
We have her name someplace.
Yes,
I
indeed.
can't remember just her name, but very thorough, very serious,
Oh, yes.
and it was always an honor to receive award.
Now, you were sharing with me before the interview that you've heard some discussion that there may be some folks who are trying to resurrect the Art League here in Daviess County.
Yes. In fact, I think that was Becky Kremp's idea, that we would start a new art league again, and I hope that really happens.
Well, I want to share with our viewers that Mrs. Cavanaugh was primarily responsible for providing us with information about the members of the Daviess County Art League, which we cataloged and put on our online site, daviesscounty.pastperfectonline.com. So I would encourage everybody to take a look at the reports and the bios that you have provided.
Okay.
And as a result of your research
Yes.
and inspiration, the museum has now scheduled an art exhibit
Yes, that's
for
great.
Sunday, June the 6th, here at the museum,
Yes.
and from 1 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
And I believe we have several artists that are going to present their paintings, and we're
Yes.
encouraging others to do the same.
Yes. And we're trying to find out some of the paintings that might be around that belong to the original Art League members, so that we could include those as well. That would be a big help if we could.
Yes. So we're encouraging people who may have in their collection pieces of art that
Yes.
were prepared, made by Daviess County Art League members, and
Right.
see if they would loan those to us
Yes.
for the exhibit on
Good.
June the 6th.
So you tell us what you told me about the Margaret Wichman. That was interesting.
Well, this is supposed to be your interview, Mrs. Cavanaugh, not my interview. But since you asked, I'll share with you.
Okay.
Tony Wichman, the son of Margaret Wichman, just today loaned to the museum several pieces of art prepared by his mother,
Yes.
Margaret Wichman, which will be on display
Yeah.
at the June 6th art exhibit here at the museum.
I'm so happy about that. I think we had a picture of one of her paintings, but now to have the originals included in the exhibit on the June the 6th, that'd be wonderful.
All right, now we'd like to talk a little bit more in more detail, Mrs. Cavanaugh, about your work. And perhaps
Okay.
you could tell us how you got started as an artist and the
Yes.
type of mediums that you worked in.
Well, I was always interested in art from a very young age. But I remember in high school then I took art classes then rather seriously. Before that it was for fun. But then after high school, in college, I was fortunate enough to study with Sister Corita, who became very famous for her serograph works, silkscreen paintings. And I was inspired by that, not only taking her class, watching her work. And so in later years then, well, even back then, I tried my hand at silkscreen printing. And then more recently, since we've been back in Cannelburg, then I had my screen and I had all the supplies. So I've made quite a few paintings with the silkscreen work. Becky, maybe you'd bring the silkscreen one over then, and we could talk about that one. Okay.
We have the director of the museum this afternoon is providing assistance on
Yes, thank
display
goodness.
of some of the artwork, so we appreciate Mrs. Kremp
So
stepping
this is
in.
a silkscreen print.
Yes?
And actually, I love seeing those leaves. They were on a golf course out in Palm Springs.
Now let me interrupt. This is one of your pieces, correct?
Yes.
You prepared this.
And so the leaves were so beautiful because all these perforations in there. And just to tell a little bit about the process of the serigraphs or the silkscreen prints, it has, in this case, you have a photo emulsion. And photo emulsion will harden and develop when it's in the light. So after the screen is printed, rather covered with the photo emulsion, it's dried in the dark, so that when later on you bring it out, you can put these leaves on top of the screen, and when it's taken out into the sunshine, the photo emulsion will harden and nothing will go through that. But when you take the leaves off, the image of the leaves, you can print those. That's why everything in the background is white.
So how long did it take you to prepare this particular piece?
Well, let me think. The stages of it, as I said, would be, first of all, the photo emulsion. Secondly, would be exposing it with the arrangement that you want to make of the leaves, covering down with glass, taking it in the sunshine. When you bring it in, you hose it all off, and so that the image of the leaves will remain. But the gold part here is the first printing of it. And then when I wanted to put the different color, I hosed out the gold color, turned the screen upside down, and printed it again with the same leaves, but upside down with the color in there. So it's overlapping that. As far as how long it took, Bruce, I really can't tell you that.
Would it take you a day or a couple of hours?
Yeah, I'd probably think about it for a couple of days.
I see.
And then the work might have been about a day, I suppose.
And do you recall when you did this particular piece? How long ago did you prepare this?
I don't know. I don't believe I have a date on that. But I'd say maybe 15 years ago, I would say something.
And when
like
did you
that.
start screen printing like this? How long ago?
Well, afterwards, when we came back here, it would have been, let's say, 1980 maybe.
I see.
That I was started again in the screen printing.
Now, are you self-taught in this medium, or did you go to a class to learn how to do this?
Yes, I did. And when we were here, and we would often travel out to California during the wintertime, so we were in Palm Springs, and at the College of the Desert, in Palm Desert, there was a wonderful woman, Susan Smith Evans. And so she was teaching the silkscreen class, and I wanted to learn all about it, so I was able to sort of audit the class, and privileged that she let me be her assistant. Now, not assistant in teaching the basics of that, but just helping her get supplies ready and putting them away. But I loved that course, and she was a wonderful instructor, and not only told us about how to go about this, but also she brought us in the different ways of printmaking and technical terms for it, and something about them like etchings and let's see what some of the what's the other one, engravings and etchings, intaglio, linoleum cuts, and others that she would make us familiar with, and also taught us about how to go about with your artwork of doing the registration. So on one side it has the number over another. The first number would be...
Is that on the left side?
Of that, yeah, of that particular number of paintings that you, rather prints that you made from this particular screen.
Okay.
And then this, the number in front of that would be which one in the sequence is this. I see. If it's an artist proof, AP, she said sometimes that's more valuable than just a regular numbered one like that, because it would be one of a kind that you're trying it out to be sure it's all right.
So if do you have some pointers for people who might want to purchase a piece of work like this, an etching or a screen printing, of what they should look for as far as the numbering or the dates on the piece that they're looking at? Well,
first of all, look it up if you're looking on the computer about silkscreen prints. And from there, they would lead you into a place that would sell silkscreen prints. Look into the ones that they show, kind of the variety of them. And also from there, if you can ask about the registration of it. And then on the right side, of course, is the artist's signature on there. And then also,
that's very important, is it not?
Yes, absolutely. And there would be a lot of reprints, I mean, that are not the originals. But each silkscreen print is an original. Even though you're making many copies of it, each one is an original.
Is there some way you can distinguish between an original silkscreen print and a reprint? Is there some?
Well, maybe not by looking at it. But you'd have to be sure the person you're buying it from, it would say a print, you know,
is reputable,
or the actual print itself.
Right.
And
I think
yes.
Ken has given us the high sign that our time for this segment is about to expire. So we're going to take a little break here,
Okay.
Mrs. Cavanaugh, and then we'll come
Good.
back. Thank you.
All right, fine.